So before I get started, let me just exclaim, this is an exclaimer, before you go, squirting super glue in all your open wounds, that I am not a medical doctor or any kind of a medical practitioner whatsoever. This video is simply my experience, my testimony, if you will, as to what happened to me when I decided to put super glue inside of an open wound. So whatever decisions that you make, I am not responsible for, but this is my testimony, and I hope it is in some way useful to someone. So let's get started.
Don't you die with your songs telling you just sing with me.
So I've never done this before, but I do have a pretty bad cut on my finger right here. I actually did this on Monday, and today's Saturday, so it's pretty deep, and I've been putting lots of Neosporin on it and stuff like that. So I talked to a friend of mine who's he's a professional guitarist. He's like a real professional guitarist that tours with like really, really big people that you'd know. And he said to fill it up with super glue and file it off with a file. And I said, super glue? And he said, yeah. He said, use super glue unless you're allergic to super glue. Then you're going to have to use surgical super glue. And I'm like, well, how do you know if you're allergic to super glue? So anyways, I bought some of this. And I asked the pharmacist, I said, is this the same thing as surgical super glue? And she really didn't have an explanation for me. So I also bought this. So I'm going to try this first, and I'll see what happens. My finger is just about as clean as I can get it at this point. A bunch of powder just came out of here. So this is not surgical super glue. This is something that is supposed to mix with blood and create some kind of a seal. So this stuff is not going to work at all. Okay, so I think I've rinsed that out pretty good. So let's go to plan B. This is the plan that I'm nervous about, but I'm going to try it anyway because I'm a daredevil. And this one, as you screw it down, it punctures the thing. Now, I'm just going to start off with just a drop, if I can get a drop out of it. Nope, can't get a drop out of it. That's out of the question. Although I did actually get a drop on there. I'm going to try to get it inside the wound here. Okay, so super glue has a very recognizable smell. And I'm going to try to get this inside the wound. Without super gluing. I don't want to super glue this to my finger. That's what I'm worried about at this point. Now, my friend who told me that I should do this, he said to get a pretty good amount of super glue on it and then file it down with a file. So once this dries here, which it hasn't because it's sticking to my other finger, I'm going to try to put some more on it and then try to file it down a little bit with a file and see, because I do have, as you can see, there's like a little, flap of dead skin that's hanging off there that is surely going to get caught in a string tonight at some point. Oops, look at that. You got to be careful with this stuff. I'm going to try to put just a little bit more in it. if I can figure out how to get just a little, I'm not even squeezing right now. I'm just turning this upside down. Yep, there's a little drop. I'm going to try to get this as full as I can here so that I have something to work with here. There's no burning or anything right now. So I don't feel like it's doing anything damaging to my skin or anything. It doesn't, there's no burning whatsoever. Now that might be different if this was a fresh cut. Now keep in mind, I cut this on Monday. Today's Saturday. It's fairly deep. And I've been keeping a lot of Neosporin on it and Band-Aids for the first couple of days. And then I tried to dry it out a little bit and it kind of refused to dry out and it just kind of kept bleeding. And I've been really taking care of it and it's as clean as I can get it at this point. But as I've gone through my daily activities and doing stuff, it does hang on stuff. If I don't have a Band-Aid on it, I try to put my finger in my pocket, you know, that little flap hangs and tries to rip off. So this super glue idea here is kind of my last, I can see it, it's still wet in there. Super glue, unless it has something to stick to, it really doesn't want to, trying to press that down a little bit so it wants to stick to itself, but it doesn't work that way. But it will dry hopefully at some point here. I can look inside the wound and I can still see that it looks shiny and wet in there. This is a much longer video than I thought this would be. I just thought this would just kind of be an experimental and instructional video on how to do this, but this is taking a little longer than I thought it would here because the super glue just won't dry. Although now I have very big calluses here on I also have acrylic nails on my picking hand, but I have pretty significant calluses here, and now my finger has stuck to the inside of the little bit of fingernail that I have there with the super glue, but it still looks like it's wet inside the wound. I mean, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to have to try to play the guitar and see what happens. All right. Okay, I tried to pick up the super glue and it has completely stuck to my hand, but it won't seal up the wound. How do you like that? God, plastic. Boy, it just pours out of there like water. If you're going to use a paper towel on super glue, do it really quick. It's not really forming not really doing exactly what I want it to do. So I'm going to stop this video and we'll come back and see how it looks in a few minutes. So I put another application on, but what I did is I'm letting the wet drop of the super glue I'm letting gravity kind of hold it where I want it to be. Because if I do that, it just kind of wanders up and down the wound area, which is I'm hoping that eventually it'll just dry on that area rather than running all over my hand. I don't know if you can see that. I might be too close to the camera and it might be getting fuzzy, but there's now kind of like a little drop of super glue that's hanging off of my finger. So hopefully it'll dry right there. That's what I'm hoping. I can do this. I can actually let it run from that part of the wound to this part of the wound, and it just, as I tilt my finger, it just kind of runs back and forth. So I don't know how to make super glue dry with it not touching anything. It's very frustrating. So I'll do this for a few minutes and we'll see what happens. So it's been about 30 minutes, and it does feel very stiff and sealed, but me, being the daring soul that I am, I'm gonna put more super glue in it. Okay, so I will let you know how this is after 3 hours. After 3 hours of gigging, we'll see what happens. So I'm set up here at the Twisted Tuna. I'm ready to play. Got my gear set up, and everything's ready to go here. It's a beautiful day, and if you can look around here, you can probably tell that there's nobody here that's afraid of getting sick. It's very hard to find somebody who's wearing a mask. Everybody just wants to, they don't want to spread a virus, they all just want to spread love out here. Let's take a walk and see what we can see. So I got a hell of a crowd today to play for, and you know, I'm gonna do what I do and play music and make everybody happy. So I hope you're having a great day. It's nice and warm here in Florida. Matter of fact, I should have wore shorts today, but I'll be okay. I got my fan blowing on me, and it's all good. So remember, don't die with your song still in you. Okay, I've played 1 hour so far, and it looks like the super glue is holding for the most part. It's separated a little bit here, but I mean, I've really been banging, I've really been playing pretty hard. And so one set, and the super glue seems to be fulfilling its purpose. So we'll see how it goes. So after playing for 3 hours on Saturday night, and then waking up this morning, Sunday morning, and playing a church service, the thing that surprises me the most is that there's just, it's the pain is gone. You know, this flap, which is probably, this entire part of my finger is probably going to fall off here, this little flap that I've sliced. But it's hard as a rock. You can't hurt it at all, and there's no pain anywhere on it, not like I was feeling before I put the super glue on it. But as you can see, it held up. I was able to play the guitar for the gig, and because of the way that my hand is on the guitar neck, the string actually came right across this area, like on a C chord or, on certain things where your hand is stretched out a little bit more this way, the strings kind of come across a little bit of this part of the hand. So I am pleasantly surprised with how this worked. Now, if I get some kind of a blood disease and die within the next several months, that's yet to be seen. But as of now, this worked, and if I ever accidentally slice my finger like that again, and the worst part about this is I didn't even slice it on a knife. I cut it on a jagged edge of a file cabinet. I had to call my doctor and go, hey, when was my last tetanus shot? But anyway, there you have it. If I have another cut somewhere on a finger and I have to play a gig, I'm definitely going to put super glue in it again, unless I die in a couple of months from some kind of blood poisoning. There you have it. All right, everybody, don't die with your song still in you.
Don't you die with your song